Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. Now, the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com. Follow us on Instagram at JustSayingNoGWJS for article and video updates. Week 15 is done. That was a great week of football. Both our teams got a win.
Both of them. Important wins. Playoff implication wins.
Vikings win the North. Largest comeback in NFL history. It's just what we do.
Say it again, Sean.
Largest comeback in NFL history. It's what we do. All right. A little bit of news and notes before we jump into this week 16. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year, everyone. 3 17-point comebacks in Week 15. Minnesota, Jacksonville, and Cincinnati. So the first time in NFL history that this has happened. Again, largest comeback in NFL history for Minnesota. They came back down from 33-0. Injury news. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts suffered a right shoulder sprain in Sunday's win against the Bears and is uncertain to play Sunday versus the Cowboys. And Gardner Minshew would get his first start of the 2022 season. Huge implication for fantasy football owners as well if you're a Jalen Hurts owner. Also some news for the Eagles. Tight end Dallas Goedert has been activated from the IR and is expected to start Saturday against the Cowboys. We'll keep this moving. Speaking of Dallas, Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch did avoid a major neck injury, but is going to be out on Sunday against the Eagles. Carolina quarterback Sam Darnold will remain the starter Sunday against the Lions, according to interim head coach Steve Wilks. Jaguars offensive lineman Cam Robinson suffered a torn meniscus on Sunday's win over the Cowboys. He will miss the remainder of the season. More huge fantasy implication here. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor suffered a high ankle sprain in Sunday's loss to the Vikings. He has officially been placed on IR. He is done for the rest of the season. Cardinals, more injury news for their quarterback room. Quarterback Colt McCoy suffered a concussion and missed the remainder of the game. If he's out again this weekend, Trace McSorley would get his first career NFL start, drafted by the Ravens in 2019. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson will start Thursday Night Football, the episode we're about to get into, against the Jags. Quarterback Mike White is still out with this rib injury. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett has cleared concussion protocol and is expected to start on Sunday against the Raiders. And lastly, huge news for San Francisco. Their defense is getting stronger as defensive lineman Javon Kinlaw has returned to practice, hoping his 21-day window to return from the IR. So the rich are getting richer.
I can't believe that.
The number one defense in football is looking all the scarier.
And you would not believe that defense has been playing with their two best defensive tackles out, man. And Kinlaw coming back. We love Javon Kinlaw.
We love Javon Kinlaw, the former first rounder. But let's jump into this Thursday Night Football to kick off this Week 16. And again, we got tons of games this weekend on Saturday and Sunday again. But let's jump into this. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars making their way to New York to take on the Jets. New York is favored in this one by -1. Over-under here of 38. Jets last week had a brutal loss to the Lions. Some questionable play clock management towards the end there. Just before we jump into this, look, there was about 48 seconds left on the clock, and the Jets are driving down the field. They have, I think, 2 or 3 timeouts at this point.
I believe they had all 3.
I think they had all 3. All right. 48 seconds left. They huddle up to the line, and all of a sudden, in the wise words of Chris Boomer, tick, 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 tick. All of a sudden, it's 25 seconds left. They haven't gotten a play. They rush to the line. They're calling a timeout. You just burned 23 seconds. That's potentially 3 plays in that 23 seconds that you just wasted.
Everybody is sitting there at home screaming like, call the timeout.
What is going on?
The game-winning drive. And this is Robert Saleh, who's actually been decent with his clock management this year. But, as Sean says, it literally it cost them the game because you don't even get time to put yourself in any kind of field goal range, any kind of position. You are at midfield when you're doing this as well, too, so there's no excuse, kind of for how they lost that game, and it puts them in a really big disadvantage. I believe right now the Jets' playoff percentage is around 12%.
Surprisingly low, all things considered, based on how their season was going. I mean, we're looking at this team. This is a 7-7 team. It's playing lights out defensively. This defense is phenomenal. 11th against the rush. 4th against the pass. Have one of the best cornerback duos, if not the best cornerback duo in DJ Reader and Sauce Gardner, which is going to cause problems, I think, for this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And it's just disappointing that at times this offense has squandered opportunities the way that they have. And I think the biggest question marks that we're going to be seeing is what we're following this season, which is the Zach Wilson trend and what's going to be happening with that. Is it going to be Mike White's time? Is it time to move on from Zach Wilson? his comments that he made after the game and saying, like, no, it's not my fault. And then recently, he still hasn't shown, I think, enough maturity for the New York market. I think that's going to be something that's, like, really interesting to monitor as the offseason continues, especially if they don't make the playoffs.
And I mean, you mentioned kind of like, the QB thing you mentioned in the news about Mike White. He's not going to be playing. Short week. Didn't get to clear after going to 10 doctors last week. And now the Jets, as we mentioned, are kind of in trouble. So if Zach Wilson doesn't step up in a moment like this, where you are on the fringe playoff list and you have the division that you have where Buffalo is locking up playoff spots and Miami is fighting and Patriots are, they just cost themselves a game last week. And, the Jets right now, if Zach Wilson can't go up at home on Thursday night against the 29th ranked passing defense in Jacksonville, who is he going to beat? This is a big moment. They need to create, this is crazy to say, but they need to treat this Thursday night game against Jacksonville like one of the biggest games of the season, because they are not at the point where you need them to be just on this fringe playoff list. They're a good team. They have a good defense. Like Sean said, they have the fourth best passing defense. So I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be throwing 4 touchdowns like he did on Dallas last week. But at the end of the day, the Jets defense is going to keep them in the game here, I think, especially where you can make Trevor Lawrence make mistakes. And they're just going to have to try to run the ball way better than they did last week. I mean, Bam Knight, only 13 for 23. That's got to be 1.8 yards. You have to have something better than that. And if they can't win this game, then they may not deserve to make the playoffs. But Mike White, that he's sitting there like, I can win this game. So Zach Wilson, as the QB1 this week, should have the same mentality in my mind,
I think that Zach Wilson right now, you're playing for a lot more than just you're not going to win the division. Buffalo just took that, I believe.
Yeah.
So you're
next week should be it.
You're playing for more right now than just your playoff chances. You're kind of playing for your job.
Yeah.
Right now, I think, and that's not what you want to say in the quarterback's second year, but just given the way that Mike White has been able to step in and play, and it seems that the team rallies around him a little bit differently compared to Zach Wilson, you begin to worry about that stuff. Now, I think that the Jets are going to win this game because I think that they have a lot on the line right now. And, it's a home game. It's the holidays. You just had a bad loss. New York is still going to be behind you on that. That being said, wouldn't it surprise me if Jacksonville won that? They're coming off that huge pick six.
That 1 point spread on the Thursday game.
Also shows that Vegas doesn't know what's going on. It's a short week.
Yeah.
We literally just saw that pick six that was dropped by Noah Brown, fell right in Jenkins' hands, scored a touchdown, game winner. They're coming off of this big game. They're riding with a little bit of momentum. Trevor Lawrence's last 3 weeks looked really solid for them.
Yeah.
They're rallying behind Doug Peterson. So I feel like I'm basically saying that I'm switching what I'm saying as I'm talking, but I'm going with the Jets. But there's a route here for Jacksonville.
Your point is that this can kind of go either way, and you just feel that way just analyzing it. Like, there are so many outcomes. Like, if Travis Etienne does what he did last week, 19 for 103, they're going to be able to control the game a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But they were doing that because they were kind of putting themselves in positions to win. If the Jets kind of put themselves in a position where, they are behind, I don't know if they're going to be able to come back. I don't know if they have the offensive output with Zach Wilson. But it is really about them being able to do this and starting hot at home if they do want to win. I got to say I am leaning Jacksonville. As much as I love the Jets being good this year and the New York storyline of them being good, the division around them is just so tough. And Michael Carter last week, you get 5 touches from him. You get 1.8 from the other running back, and it's like you the passing game may not work with Zach Wilson, but
so you got to run the ball.
But man, if you can't run the ball, what are you gonna do? And for me, it's I'm going to go with Jacksonville just to oppose you because, like you said, it's very 50-50. But Jacksonville's defense has been making some crazy plays, a lot of sacks. I do think that even though their passing defense is bad, 16th, passing. There's nothing about Jacksonville's defense that pops out to me statistically, but they do have some really good players like Trayvon Walker, who I don't think we haven't talked about enough because he's just a rookie. But they still have Josh Allen. They still have a solid group there, and they actually have a really good shot to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they really do. They could usurp the Titans.
I'm trying to look at the data, but they have a 42.9% playoff chance after last week's win. And Tennessee, that drops Tennessee to around 52%.
Well, Tennessee only has a 1-game lead right now over Jacksonville.
And that's what I'm saying. We're talking about the Jets, how they have all this, but Jacksonville, like now they have put Tennessee in a bad spot. And now they have put themselves in a pretty decent spot. And maybe former number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence is kind of like, hey, Doug Peterson, my head coach.
Come on, Dougie.
You got a ring. Like, show me how to get that. And I think, maybe you could have a good week. And obviously, we got to shout out Zay Jones for last week. But he's going up against Sauce. How do you feel about that?
I don't like the passing attack in this one. I think if the Jaguars win's going to be through Travis Etienne and his ability to run the ball on the ground. That's my biggest fear. My question for you though, Zach Wilson over under on 2 turnovers.
Ooh. I honestly say that he gets that line. Like if it was 2.5, exactly. I would say he gets 2. But man, can he get? Boy, can nobody get 3 turnovers in a game like Zach Wilson.
No, it's a truly magical thing.
He like last week he threw that pick and I was like that's just exactly what he does.
You're like I'm wondering what he's looking at because I don't see a player over there that's for New York on that interception.
And if the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl, I was going to say the playoffs, they need to win this. And like I said, if Zach is not going to step up, I hope he does. As a New Yorker, I kind of want to see the Jets on one side, the Giants on the other side. Kind of gives us all some hope. Yeah. But the way Trevor played last week and the way he's been playing the last couple weeks, it kind of gives me that.
Gives you some more confidence.
Yeah, that stride of, oh, God, he may actually be able to make those throws. But I still love those jokes that guy can't, even motivate anybody to make a sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the most motivating kid out there, but you know what?
The kid can sling it.
He can sling it, and you know what? Look, both these teams fighting for playoffs right now. We haven't said that for Jacksonville or New York in quite some time, so this is a nice thing to be saying. They're kicking off this Week 16. That's all the time that we have, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Happy holidays. Enjoy your Hanukkah. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your New Year's.
Yeah, enjoy these holidays. A lot of great football coming up. A very important part of the season. Week 16. Only 2 more weeks after this. Make sure to check us out on Friday. You're going to have a bunch of stuff for all your fantasy playoffs. Get your knowledge. JustSayingFootball.com. Just Saying Football on YouTube and Spotify. And for all your updates, go to Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram to stay up to date. Thanks for watching.
Enjoy.